whereas Ramayana there is a real story. So that's probably the difference. It's a journey into the ocean, which is novel, and a snapshot, a tip of an iceberg, a frame, could be short story. I think this is what, not as a writer, as a reader. As a reader, I perceive both these forms.
Great question again, and I couldn't agree more. A short story is a knockout. It's like a punch in the face you never forget. And when you talk to people as readers, you'll always find that a lot of us carry that one short story with us. I talk to a lot of children about reading and writing, and they'll always remember something that the last leaf, Mohan read. That ending stays with them, the last leaf, that one painted leaf on the wall, how a man died doing it. So we always carry these one particular story or two stories from our school text, from our college text, from something we've read. Whereas a novel, while it's very enjoyable, I think because of the length of it, it's kind of diffuse. Eventually the power diffuses out somewhere. But like I said, like a shot of black coffee, a short story for me is so thrilling when I read it. But not to say, from a writer's point of view, I must tell the audience that it's probably more difficult to write than a novel. A good short story with every element in place, delivering that knockout punch is a very difficult thing to do. But once you get that jolt which you actually never forget. So the power of a short story is transformative. It transforms you in an instant. You carry that residue of feeling throughout the week, throughout the month, having read a good short story. It doesn't leave you for a...
It's a short story, what normally called. But I talk about. I'm not in a total believer of any kind of regimentalized theory or principle or definition what short story is. And yes, Rabindranath has a very long poem regarding short story, how the short story will be there. And the last part of the poem was this. The says Hoyu says Holo now. Even the short story is complete. The part the reader should think that it is not complete. That it is an incomplete story. And for some kind of thing, readers should carry in their mind the keyhole corner. When I told about the ending of the story, excuse me for talking one of my own story. When I just now, when I write a story, one story goes writing, when I story primarily conceived, that story probably is not ending in that way. Normally we are all welfare writer. I am a welfare writer. Around the also called in context, in Indian context there is no question of tragedy. We want to our any kind of writing, in a very positivistic note. But when I write story, one story was there, it was published in Chandra Prasad Sekhar's Curiosity. Then what happened, the story character in that time, it should be in a different negative point, I have to end, the story could be better. Then I did two things. When the writers are writing the story like this way, their story ends, and another ending is there. This is the writer's individual ending. I have two different endings. One ending what story normally deserves, and one ending what story goes on that way, and that could have been a better story, a short story. But the point is that another story what happened, another ending, why I feel as a comparative and what we call a very much responsible and welfare writer, that things could have been different way. Therefore, as a writer and as an individual, I have two different endings. This also happened. This is a contradiction. But still, I love both short story, of course, both novel. I agree with Kuloseka. Novel is a very long part, therefore I am not writing novel. And short story, okay, it is some limited words, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 words, it can be happen. Therefore, this passion to write writings. If I could write poetry also. This is basically, I feel, we have the sensibility to go, to carry along with the society around. Thank you.
Pour moi, la nouvelle, c'est un peu une équation dont l'inconnu échappe toujours un peu.
For Hubert, the novel is like an equation where something is always not being able to be catched.
Elle demande la perfection.
And it needs
A priori.
perfection.
Elle demande la perfection. Donc une nouvelle, on peut atteindre la perfection littéraire dans la nouvelle, comme dans le poème.
With poetries or short stories, you can reach perfection.
Et il y a les exemples de Borges, Jorge Luis Borges, qui a écrit des contes, des nouvelles. Et c'est vrai que la nouvelle, on est toujours entre le conte, la nouvelle, le court récit. Autrefois, eh bien, un roman de 200 pages, c'était considéré comme une nouvelle au 19e siècle. C'était une nouvelle.
In the 19th century, a novel of 200 pages was considered a short story.
Quant au roman, c'est Proté, le dieu Proté qui peut prendre toutes les formes.
So for the novel, it's Proté, the god Proté, who can take any shape.
Avec le roman est en permanence, expansion permanente. Nous sommes toujours à inventer le roman. C'est pour ça que c'est une forme qui d'une certaine manière, qui perdure, que le roman ne sera jamais achevé, il ne sera jamais clos. Pourquoi? Parce il avale, il prend en lui toutes les formes littéraires.
Because the novel is in a constant expansion. It's always moving.
Toutes les formes littéraires sont en lui. La poésie, le théâtre, l'essai. Sauf qu'il faut cette magie pour que cela se synthétise et qu'il y ait cette unité narrative qui donne illusion. Et c'est la fiction, c'est ce que j'appelais hier le pacte de crédulité avec le lecteur.
So in a novel you have all forms of literature, you have poetry, theater, and so it's like you have to find a magic note to put all that together and to reach a pact of narration with the reader.
He's speaking in French, so I had done my French course, 1 year certificate course. And while I was coming, I was thinking I'll understand every bit of him, Now I understood that I know nothing about French. Anyway, only certificate doesn't help it. Now, when you are talking about the planning and things like that, about the creation, suddenly I remembered while all talking about it, there's a nice incident in Alice in Wonderland, Alice asked the cat, how do I go there? Which way I should go there? Then Alice asked her, the cat asked Alice, where do you want to go? Alice said, it doesn't matter where I go. Then Alice said, then the cat said, it doesn't matter which way you go, right? So that is the freedom a short story gives, That is why I like short story very much. But the problem with me, since you are asking about plan and all, once, I have never revised any short story of mine. First writing, send it, right? That is the first draft and final draft. So once I ventured upon rewriting a short story, then by the end of the second draft, I realized that it has become a different story. It's like, good. While revising the first story, I got another story. So, what I'm saying is how I work without plan. So, without planning also you can write short story. But the main question was about yours. The planning in short story and novel, that is what. And one very important story I'll just tell you in one line, that is about the ghost of sound, That was my story, the difference between poetry and story. When I finished that story, the story was about a particular person staying in an isolated, abandoned bungalow. At middle of the night, there was rainfall, and a lot of different sounds were coming with the drops of rain, with the raindrops, falling all over, falling on the tin roof, falling on the grasses, falling on the different trees and the leaves and all those. The different types of sounds were coming in. With every sound, he was narrating his own story, how that particular sound he heard in the childhood and what are the story about, how he heard this particular story in his youth, and he narrated, he remembered his story with that particular story. So what I am saying is, when the story was out, Mr. Nilmani Fukan is a very respected poet in Assam. He's the Sahitya Academy Award winner and things like that. He rang me up, he said, Kula, you have written a poetry I read just now. He was talking about this story. So why I'm saying, so at particular point or at a particular level, short story can become a poem. Even a poem now you can see a lot of good poetry is giving you the touch of short story as well. So what I'm saying is, in the particular junction, when there is fusion everywhere, the poetry, short story, all these creations are losing the boundaries. They are touching each other in different tone and tenor. That is what I wanted to tell you on this particular issue.
Okay, we are only 5 minutes left, so if anybody in the audience wants to make a question, I have more questions of my own, but I'm going to give the opportunity, so raise your hands. And good. Yes.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Aditya Vidya, and I have a question for all the panelists. As you have been mentioning about novels and short stories, did you ever find difficulty in putting an end-to-end story? If so, how did you manage?
Okay, can you choose one panelist because we have only 5 minutes left?
Kulada.
See, Aditi, I have no problem with the end because I don't give an end, right? In my short story, the way you want to finish it off, leave it like that. Or if you want to go beyond that, you go on thinking about it, go on fantasizing, that's the best part of it, not giving an end to it. But if you're talking about the end of it, of any general short stories, I feel that it should be what Janavi was talking about, that you carry it along with you. The feel, the tenor of the journey should be with you all the time to come. That is the best beauty of the short story, I feel that the end should be like a whipping end, Somebody's put a hook on you and, you go on taking it all out of your life, all right?
Il y a des fins ouvertes qui laissent ensuite au lecteur le soin de terminer l'histoire telle qu'il l'a lui-même, parce que chaque lecteur invente son livre. Il n'y a pas un roman, le roman a autant d'existence qu'il a de lecteurs.
A novel has many existence as its readers. There is not one novel, but each person reading the novel is a novel.
Et puis aussi, il y a les romans dont on commence avec l'idée de la fin. On sait la fin, mais on ne sait rien d'autre. Et aussi, quand on écrit un roman, ce qui est difficile, c'est le début. Parce qu'il faut mettre en place, il faut que soi-même, on adhère, on y croit. Et ça, c'est très dur. Mais une fois qu'on est porté, une fois qu'on a écrit 100 pages, et bien on est poussé par les 100 pages dans le dos, on est poussé par... Il y a un effet de vitesse acquise qui nous mène vraiment comme sur un bateau, là, on file vers la fin.
And sometimes you start a novel just by knowing the end. So the beginning is the most difficult part, and but you, after writing 20, 100 pages, then you are pushed and you feel the motion of the story.
Thank you. Next question.
Who do you want to take?
Choose.
I'll go to the other side. I'll come back.
A very good afternoon to you. My question is about the knockout punches that you talked about. For a first-time writer or for newbies out there, where should the knockout punches be for today's contemporary audience? In a short story, where should the knockout punches be? Like, should it be the beginning, or should we build up and put it in the end, like in regular short stories as they tend to be? Like, where should the knockout punches come? Yeah.
Can you choose one panelist to
It's a general one, or
no, because we have little time.
okay, anybody can answer.
It's a very interesting question. So I told you I work with children with short story writing. I teach them how to write a short story sometimes. So a lot of thought goes into a craft of a short story. While it's great fun to write a short story, as Mr. Saikia said, because it's very dynamic. You can play with it, you can have fun. You cannot end it, it can be open-ended. You can change the ending the next time in the next draft, in a different reprint. But when you talk about knockout punch, it's not to do with the beginning and ending or any specific element. Like we have this various, I always say it's like making a good curry. Several ingredients. You have the fish, the vegetables, the masalas. You have to make sure it comes together in this fantastic taste which lingers in the mouth. It's not one thing, it's many things which make that perfect curry, the perfect amount, the perfect curry when you make it.
I think it's an individual writer choice when and where the knockout punches will be there.
Thank you.
Writer. None. Obviously, the writer will write and reader will be communicated. And as a reader, he is asking the where the knockout punches should be there. That is the individual writer and how constructed the story. Again, coming back to next question, what Ulosvika was giving answer regarding this ending of the story. I am tempted to say, even if someone tells I do not plan about my story, for my maximum numbers of story, I have written some 50 plus stories or 60 plus stories. In all stories, I have a definite ending. I will end there. Anyway, it's again I told about the writer's individual choice.
Thank you. Next question.
Thank you. Good afternoon to you all. I have a very simple question, and that goes to Ms. Janali. The question is, you teach children how to write short stories, but can we really teach someone to become a writer, or can we really teach someone to be a very good novelist or in some way? Because it involves so much of nuances and so many different styles and genres. How do we really pinpoint or teach, a particular form of grammar or a particular style of writing? Thank you.
Excellent question, and something is much debated in the writing world. Can you teach writing? Can you teach someone how to be a novelist or a poet or a short story writer? So you can teach people techniques. You can teach the craft of writing. It's similar if you look at a painting. You can teach children how to paint. You can tell them about the different colors, the different types of colors, the different canvases, how to put paint on the canvas, how to compose a picture. But if it were that simple, then every great art teacher in the school would be a great artist. Eventually, the great artists may not have any training at all. So while teaching helps you hone your craft, it helps you a little bit with your skill set. Eventually, if you don't have something from within, what we writers and artists call a voice, it's a very nebulous thing. And we talk about voice and people say, what is this voice? The voice is what you are all about. As Shivara said, it's accumulation of what you are as a person through the years, every day of your life. Your thoughts, your experiences, your vision, your purpose, that comes together, and versus a very well executed painting which is technically correct, we may have a messy painting which speaks to us. So that voice can never be taught. So you can teach techniques of writing. Out of 100 children you teach, maybe there'll be 2 writers or 2 poets.
En atelier d'écriture, c'est le paradoxe. Je disais que la nouvelle, c'est la perfection. Vraiment, on peut atteindre la perfection par la nouvelle. Cependant, en atelier d'écriture, on fait travailler la nouvelle, parce que c'est court, Et parce que c'est possible en quelques heures de faire écrire à chacun des nouvelles. Et souvent, on a de très grandes surprises, parce que, évidemment, un débutant, tout le monde a un sujet en lui, tout le monde a un roman en lui. Et dans la nouvelle, on peut atteindre quelque chose de très, très intense. Il suffit de mettre en place un petit peu la modalité, avec le questionnement au début, l'intrigue qui se noue, et puis la chute, et puis la contre-chute. Alors évidemment, il y a des techniques, mais tout le monde se lance volontiers dans l'écriture d'une nouvelle, en atelier d'écriture.
In some writers' workshop, usually the short stories is the format chosen because that's what is more practical. But often we can also have surprises in terms of what will come out of the people and what form it will take. And but everybody has to be free in a writer's workshop and let the ideas come.
No, I have sorry for robbing your time. I have a question for Mr. Abbad. But all the novelists I've seen have started off as short story writers. And from reading your bio, I see that he has graduated from poetry. So how did that happen?
Je crois que tous les romanciers, tous les écrivains, ils le disent peut-être pas, mais ils ont commencé, ils avaient 14 ans, 12 ans, par la poésie, par les poèmes. On commence tous par l'écriture se rêvant elle-même. Et puis, ensuite, eh bien, advient souvent la nouvelle. On fait même si au début c'est pas bon, parce que la nouvelle c'est très difficile, ça demeure très difficile, surtout quand on est solitaire. Et c'est de la nouvelle que le roman va se déployer, naître. Moi j'écris dans tous les genres, je fais du théâtre, j'ai beaucoup écrit pour le théâtre, et puis des essais, mais c'est la poésie qui est nourricière. Parce que de la poésie, au fond, dans la poésie, il y a tout. Il m'est arrivé d'écrire des histoires à partir d'un vers. Excuse-moi.
It's the poetry that feeds him, really. He started stories just by starting writing a poetry. So that's for him, the poetry is the essence of everything. So young people often start writing when they are 14, 17 years old, and the first format that the writing take will be the novel. But then slowly, as the writer becomes less isolated also, then it will turn also slowly towards the novel. I said novel initially, I meant short story.
Je vous donne un vers de Paul Éluard. Eh bien, c'est un roman, il suffit de le déployer. On déploie la métaphore et on a un roman. Une femme, chaque nuit, voyage en grand secret. Vous déployez, c'est un roman.
So he's giving an example of Paul Éluard, who is a poet, and he says it goes a lady each night travels in great secrets, and it's a novel.
One question.
Just comment sir's question. Keki Darwala and Maman Dai here, so they all started off as established poets, but they changed over to fiction writing.
One question? Yes, gentleman.
Thank you. My question is.
Hello.
Madam, madam, please, madam.